Hi, everyone. I'm back for the Chapter 5 overview, and Chapter 5 I hope will be interesting to you, certainly more interesting perhaps than Chapter 4. Chapter 5 is about crime and criminal law. I want you to think about crime the way sociologists do. We say that crime is socially constructed. What does that mean? Well, sociologists talk a lot about the social construction of something. So we say, for example, that crime is socially constructed, gender is socially constructed, race, ethnicity, those are socially constructed. What we mean by this is that a particular society comes to some sort of social consensus about what something means. And in this case, if we're thinking about crime, then we recognize that over time, society has come to believe that certain behaviors are wrong and therefore they should be outlawed, and everybody should be made aware that these things are wrong and should be outlawed. But over time, more recently, I would say in the last 40 years or so, we've also focused on telling people what they should or have to do. So when we tell people what they can't do, those are proscriptive laws. And when we tell people what they have to do, those are prescriptive laws. So wearing a seatbelt when you drive, if you ride a motorcycle, wearing a helmet, children under 18, if they're riding a scooter or a bicycle, are supposed to wear a helmet. Those are all prescriptive laws. And again, one could argue that by social consensus, society believes that it's a good idea to do those things cited in prescriptive laws and to avoid or to not do those things cited in proscriptive laws. Just because things are socially constructed, crimes are socially constructed, of course, doesn't mean that everybody agrees. For example, if you think about prostitution, it's illegal in the United States, except for 11 counties in Nevada. Now, one could ask the question, if prostitution, the selling of sex, is so bad, evil, and wrong, then why do those 11 counties in Nevada allow it? And they have been allowing it for decades. And so if it's so bad, evil, and wrong, how come we haven't seen anything terrible happen in Nevada as a result of this? Gambling, again, is illegal in all but two states, and those are Nevada and in New Jersey, in Atlantic City, New Jersey. And of course, Native American reservations, if they're large enough and received funding or were able to attract investors, may have casinos, but those are on sovereign lands. But the only places outside of the Native Americans' casinos are Nevada and Atlantic City, New Jersey. Again, if Americans think that gambling is so bad, evil, and wrong, then why do we even allow it at all? Okay, so what I'm trying to point out here is the hypocrisy that we see sometimes with laws. Let's see. You'll learn in this chapter about the elements of criminal offenses. You'll also learn about the limitations of criminal law, things such as substantive due process, which is a nice fancy phrase that simply means that laws can't infringe upon individual rights, those most notably found in the Bill of Rights. There's the overbreadth doctrine, which of course says that a law can't be too vague or it can't be overly broad, which again makes me wonder, well, what about the law against disturbing the peace? What does that mean? Disturbing the peace might mean something to you, but it might mean something different to me. And if I'm having a party in my backyard and I'm listening to music at 12 o'clock at night, to me, that seems normal. I mean, that's when parties really get started, right? But to my next door neighbor, maybe that's disturbing the peace. And so to me, that law has always seemed a little vague. But depending upon the city, there may be some more delineated parameters about which particular things are disturbing the peace. Also, void for vagueness. That means that laws that are not specifically focused on a particular behavior and they do not specify a particular punishment could be held to be void. There also is a discussion of Part 1 crimes that you will find in the Unified Crime Report, which is the Department of Justice's way of keeping statistics on the kinds of crimes that happen in the United States. It does have its limitations, of course, one of them being that they don't keep an official log or official statistics of white-collar crimes. If you want to find official statistics, the Bureau of Justice doesn't have such a list. You'd have to look for things individually, such as embezzlement or internet fraud, etc. But specific white collar crimes we don't really keep track of, which is again is interesting to me because you have to wonder why don't the people in power think it's important to keep track of those things. So at any rate, that is the overview of Chapter 5, and I will see you next week for the Chapter 6 summary.